A number of years ago, I believe it was for our 30th anniversary, my wife and I took a trip to Alaska to get away to explore its fabled beauty, and I'll tell you, we weren't disappointed. But one of our most memorable days was spent with a woman named Dolly on Dolly's Wildlife Adventures. You probably wonder why a clergyman would ever go on a trip with a woman named Dolly on an adventure like that. And when we met her, I kind of had second thoughts myself. She was dressed up like Miss Kitty from Dodge City. I thought, well, this could be quite a surprising trip. But as it turned out, we had an absolutely wonderful afternoon. She drove us around in her bus, and we looked at the wildlife that was there in Ketchikan, I think it was. But the highlight of the trip for me was her stories about the old days of gold exploration and the gold rush and the early pioneering of Alaska. And as it turns out, Dolly's husband was a geologist and a gold miner. He and his brother had a partnership. And one of the things that she produced for us to look at once we were on the bus and safely out in the middle of nowhere was a 1 pound piece of gold. It was absolutely amazing. I remember reading sometime long ago that the first time you hold a piece of gold in your hands, you'll understand why men killed for it. I can't say it had that kind of impact on me, but a 1 pound piece of gold was pretty fascinating, I will say. Of course, we couldn't steal it. There was nowhere to run and nowhere to go. But we had a nice time as she shared with us her stories, and we looked at the wildlife all around there. This is Pastor Bill with Parables and Proverbs on our Tuesday evening edition. And our parable tonight, again from Matthew 13, is a parable about the kingdom, where Jesus says that the kingdom is like a merchant, a man who bought and sold gems until he found the pearl of great price, at which point he sold everything he had in order to obtain it. Now, Dolly told us that they sold all of the gold that they had at the time in order to buy this 1 pound piece, as they had a lot of dust and a lot of smaller pieces. But the point was they wanted to get that one big piece. It really did fascinate them, and it was certainly a great eye-catcher on her little tour. The kingdom of heaven, well, Solomon says, there's nothing that can be compared to its wisdom and its understanding. All the things that can be compared are not to be desired. When we think about the greatness and the glories of the kingdom of heaven, when we think about the privileges and the pleasures that God offers to all of those who enter therein, we think about the benediction which he promises to give. Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. The kingdom prepared for you from before the foundation of the world. We come to see why this parable, like the one before it, about the man who had found the great treasure in a field and sold everything he had in order to buy the field and obtain the treasure, these two team up as a double witness, so to speak, to teach us that whatever we need to do, whatever we need to rid ourselves of, whatever it takes, we need to make our entrance into the kingdom of heaven. Now, the truth is, we can't get there on our own. We don't have enough to sacrifice. We can't do enough good works to earn our way in. And this is, of course, why Jesus came, that by his death as a perfect sacrifice, he might open the gates of heaven, shut the gates of hell, and offer us the means of everlasting life. Knowing that we have such a great Savior who has offered us his own life, we in turn are called to offer up all that we have, to spare no cost, to count, as St. Paul says, everything else but that which is only good to be thrown away, that we may obtain Christ, and at length find entrance into his kingdom, entering into the joy of our Savior. May God help us to keep our eye on the true prize, remembering that everything here is just a vapor and will only last for a little while. And the troubles and the pleasures of this life are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. May God keep you walking faithfully. I'll see you soon. God bless you.